Week 2 of practice is coming up. This is what we want to see from offense, defense, and overall.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting your podcast, and stay in touch with the show by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in. Quick housekeeping. There will not be an episode tomorrow. I am spending a day up north with my family. So we are doing this today and talking about what we're going to be paying attention to for Tuesday and Thursday practices. And then, of course, I will give you some word of mouth on Saturday. So going into this week, here's what I'm going to be paying attention to. There is a lot to build on. And I thought that the first week was pretty good. The first practice I got to see looked good. Everything I heard after that sounded like everyone was pretty impressed. And last year during spring camp and training camp too, we saw the defense really kind of take advantage of the offense, and it didn't feel like it was very even. And then lo and behold, the season rolls around and the defense was easily the best part of the Sun Devils last year, and the offense faltered more often than not. And injuries were a huge part of it, of course. But we are hoping to see a little more 50-50 so far. So we'll start with the offense and what I want to see. There's 3 parts on the offense, and I'm going to be looking for the first potential breakout candidates. Now, we saw some really good highlight plays, which we'll talk about more in a moment, from some guys like Troy O'Mary and Jake Smith and Caleb Black and Raleek Brown. Love seeing that those guys are able to win some reps and some one-on-ones and kind of put defenders in a blender. All sorts of fun stuff. I want to continue to see those guys build upon it, but I would also like to see some other guys find ways to break out a little bit, because it is a wide open market right now for these guys to be able to come in and practice really hard and practice really fast. There's all sorts of dudes. And like I said, I would like to see the guys who are competing continue to compete. I would love to see some of the guys who we're not talking enough about yet take that step forward. Like, we all know who Cameron Scadaboo is. We all know who Jake Smith is. We all know who Troy O'Mary is. But having that transfer in Raleek Brown show up, that's huge. Having Caleb Black, the redshirt freshman that the program is clearly high on, also huge. Would love to see some of the other guys break out. Can Kyson Brown or DeCarlos Brooks show up? George Hart, the senior running back, who's still going to be a component of the team, is he going to be able to continue showing out? Because he has had a strong spring so far. He had a really good first week. He's somebody who gets a lot of practice reps. Will he be able to continue building upon that? Next thing I want to see, I did mention highlights, and I still want to see highlights. Look, it's not all about the Instagram reels or the Twitter highlights or anything like that. Like, yeah, the one-on-ones are really, really cool to see from a wide receiver, defensive back standpoint, or running back or tight end, whatever. We all love seeing it, but the reason why I have it is because last year, like I said, the defense really dominated training camp and spring ball. This past week, it felt like it was closer to 50-50 than the other 2 instances. Can they find ways to have some breakouts, like I mentioned, but can they have those really big plays that we have to talk about on this podcast, in articles, and just general conversation, whatever it might be? You would hope that that's going to continue to happen for you is you want those highlights. Last thing I want to mention, I've got here one-on-one reps, but this is not for receivers, DBs. This is O-line, D-line. I want to see one-on-one rep wins. I want to see that the fluctuation that they have along the offensive line is going to be able to match up with a really heavy and rotating defense. There's a lot of good pass rushers on this team, both from the outside and the interior. The offensive line, it brings back a lot of guys, but it brings in a lot of guys too. The transfer portal, they brought in all sorts of guys. The freshman class has got 3 guys coming in. This is a very important time for the offensive line, is to start winning those reps and show that they can keep up with what is a very good defense. They do that. They show me that they're going to be able to anchor and hold their point. I would love to see it. From what I got to see in my practice last week, I feel like there's definitely some room to grow. But that was the case last year too. All that you want to see is that they have grown from week 1 to week 2, and they start getting a little bit more comfortable. By the end of spring ball, yeah, we would like to see these guys really stand out and be able to be like, oh, hey, Joshua Atkins, we're really paying attention to him. Leaf Fontanu, Emmett Boley, whoever it might be. I just want them to be able to stand out in their own separate ways. We're going to go ahead and flip to the defensive side of the ball in just one moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Gametime is now authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball and makes getting tickets faster and easier. The prices on Gametime app will actually go down until it gets closer to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, view from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. GameWork takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, comedy, theater, and any other kind of event. With flash deals, you can save with an in-app deal that selects the seats ahead of the game or the event. And those zone deals allow you to pick the section, and Gametime chooses the seats. All-in prices, toggling this feature is going to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views, get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. That lowest price guarantee means that Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for cheaper. Gametime ticket coverage means that your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Want to talk to you about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV as well. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights and in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as with the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV and provide you with millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free live TV, whether it's the opening weekend of baseball, the continuation of the college basketball tournament. You're going to want to have Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive in to all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/Fire TV. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen of the day. Let's go ahead and wrap up this conversation and take a look at the defensive side of the football before we just wrap it all up, period. Defensively, the things that I would like to see. It starts with more and more and more rotation. I want to see, and this is particular to the front seven, I should say. I want Clayton Smith rotated in with Prince Dorbaugh, with Garen Stansbury, with Roman Petrie, with the vast amount of other guys that you have on the edge. Linebacker, there's a million of them. Keyshawn Elliott and Zyrus Fiaseu were two standouts from last week. I want to see them getting involved. I want to see Crew Jackson getting some reps. I want to see some of the younger guys like Kavian Thunderbird get out there as well. Tate Romney is still going to be a component here. I want to see lots and lots and lots of rotation to the point where when the first team defense rolls out for the first 11 on 11, I would like to see constant shuffling. I want to see different lineups. I want to see guys play with each other and kind of build off of each other. See who's got good chemistry. See who is going to be able to stand out and where they stand out. One of the really interesting ones for me is Anthony Cooper. He was working out with the edge rushers. He's worked out with the defensive tackles. He's someone who started his career off the edge. Last year moved inside, but was injured for the majority of the season, so we didn't really get to see it too much. What's he going to be doing this year? Is he going to get a lot of rotation again? That's what I'm really curious to see. Next, I want to see the secondary, and I want to see standouts in the secondary. Montana Warren is once again stealing the show. He had an interception over the weekend. He flies around the field. He flies the football. It just gets progressively more difficult to pay attention to anybody else besides Montana Warren when he's doing the things that he's doing on the field. But I want more guys. Javen Robinson looked pretty good. LaTerrence Welsh looked pretty good. He had an interception, I believe. Let's see more Keith Abney out there. Let's see Mason Williams get rotated. Let's see Ed Woods continue to play well. Similar to the front seven, I do want rotations, but I would relate this more to what I said with the offense is I want some more standouts, but I want them specifically in the secondary. I want to see some corners continue to build, and you go, hey, you got to pay attention to this kid. He's been playing really good lights out football and spring ball. And there are a lot of good receivers. We mentioned Jake Smith. We've got Troy O'Mary, Melcon Stovall. There are guys in the receiver room that are going to make it very difficult for the DB's lives. I want to see you guys step up, find ways to stand out. Last thing, defensively, this isn't the biggest thing in the world. It'd be cool to see turnovers. They had a handful this past week. It would be cool to see them. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all here. Right now, at this point in time, I just want to see the different lineups that they can do. How many DBs are on the field? Who's playing corner? Who's playing safety? How many linebackers are they rolling out? What's the edge group look like? Where is player X lining up at? That's what I want to see defensively. I want to see the different ways that they roll out. The same way that I want to see the offensive line win the one-on-one reps, I want to see rotations in the front seven. Those would be my top two that I want to see. I want to see O-line dominate, but I also want to see the front seven do lots of retooling and just play around with it. See what works and see what doesn't work. Bottom line, overall, what I want to see, just build off of last week. Kenny Dillingham had said, this was a really good first week of practice. It was really solid. It was a great way to get integrated once again. This was not the case a year ago when he would tell you and be upfront and say that the practices were not great and there was a lot to do. So continue to build upon that. Go from solid practices to good practices. Go from good practices to really good practices to great to excellent. Keep building and use that momentum. This is not where you can start to take steps backwards. The culture is being established. The expectations, as Kenny Dillingham has said, the minimum expectation has been raised. Continue to meet the minimum expectation at worst, at best, blow it away. Week 2, going to be a lot of stuff to pay attention to. I'll keep you guys posted on everything. So make sure you hit like and subscribe. Turn on notifications wherever you're getting your podcasts. Now's never been a better time to subscribe than now. I appreciate all of you for tuning in and making us your first listen. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Let's go ahead and take a day off. Enjoy some time with your family. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On.